The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber pulsed with an eerie blue light, casting long shadows across the faces of the assembled alien delegates. Tension crackled through the air like static electricity as Supreme Counselor Zixnera, a towering figure with iridescent scales and 4 arms, called the emergency session to order. Esteemed colleagues, Zixnera's voice boomed, reverberating off the chamber's curved walls. We face an unprecedented crisis. Quarantine has failed. The humans have left their Deathworld. A collective gasp rippled through the assembly. Delegates from 1,000 worlds shifted nervously in their seats, appendages twitching and tendrils curling in agitation. For millennia, the Galactic Council had maintained a strict policy of non-interference regarding Earth, classifying it as a death world due to its harsh conditions and the violent tendencies of its dominant species. Ambassador Krell, a being composed of swirling purple mist contained within a translucent exoskeleton, floated forward. Impossible. Their technology was nowhere near advanced enough for interstellar travel. We've been monitoring them closely. Zixnera's upper set of arms gestured toward a holographic display materializing in the center of the chamber. It showed a crude spacecraft of human design, cobbled together from primitive materials, drifting through the inky void of space. And yet, here they are, Zixnera said grimly. Our long-range sensors detected this vessel 3 cycles ago, already beyond the orbit of their outermost planet. We've confirmed the presence of 20 human life signs aboard. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates shouted for immediate military action to neutralize the threat. Others argued for peaceful contact, citing the Council's principles of galactic harmony. A few simply stared in stunned silence, unable to process the implications of this development. As the commotion grew, a small, unassuming figure rose from her seat at the back of the chamber. Dr. Lyanna Starlight, xenoanthropologist, and one of the few humans granted observer status within the Galactic Council, cleared her throat. The noise died down as all eyes turned toward her. If I may, esteemed colleagues, Lyanna began, her voice steady despite the weight of 1,000 alien gazes upon her. I believe I can offer some insight into this situation. Zixnera nodded, granting permission to speak. Lyanna took a deep breath, knowing her words could shape the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. What you see is a violation of quarantine, we humans call exploration. It's in our nature to push boundaries, to venture into the unknown despite the risks. Yes, Earth is harsh by your standards, but it's that very harshness that has forged us into who we are. She paused, gauging the room's reaction. Some delegates seemed intrigued, others skeptical. Lyanna pressed on. Throughout our history, humans have faced countless challenges, natural disasters, plagues, wars of our own making. Each time, we've emerged stronger, more adaptable. This ship you see, it's a testament to human ingenuity and determination. We didn't wait for some technological breakthrough to hand us the stars. We reached out and grabbed them with the tools we had. The holographic display zoomed in on the human vessel. Now, the assembled aliens could see the patchwork nature of its construction. Solar panels jury-rigged to scavenge satellite components, a habitat module that looked suspiciously like it had once been part of a submarine. Ambassador Krell's misty form swirled agitatedly. But why? Why risk everything on such a desperate gamble? Lyanna smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. Because it's there. Because we dream. Because every human who has ever looked up at the night sky has wondered what's out there, waiting to be discovered. A murmur ran through the chamber. Some delegates nodded in grudging admiration, while others remained unconvinced. Zixnera raised all 4 arms, calling for silence. Your words are passionate, Dr. Starlight, but they do not change the fact that your people have violated one of our most sacred protocols. The question remains, how do we respond to this unprecedented situation? As the Council prepared to debate their next move, alarms suddenly blared throughout the chamber. The holographic display flickered, showing a new image that made even the most composed delegates recoil in shock. The human ship had changed course. It was now on a direct trajectory toward the hidden Council outpost on Jupiter's moon Europa, a listening post humans weren't supposed to know existed. Zixnera's voice cut through the renewed chaos. It seems, colleagues, that the humans have left us with no choice. We must make contact and pray to the cosmic forces that we're ready for whatever comes next. As the Galactic Council grappled with this new reality, the tiny human ship continued its journey, blissfully unaware of the turmoil it had caused. Aboard the vessel, Earth's first interstellar explorers dreamed of new horizons, their hearts filled with hope and their minds open to the wonders that awaited them among the stars. The age of human isolation was over. For better or worse, mankind was about to take its place on the galactic stage. As the Galactic Council chamber descended into barely controlled chaos, Dr. Lyanna Starlight felt a bead of sweat trickle down her spine. The fate of humanity now balanced on a knife's edge, and she knew her next words could tip the scales. "Esteemed colleagues," she called out, her voice cutting through the din. "Before we rush to judgment, perhaps we should consider the possibility that this is all a misunderstanding." Supreme Counselor Zixnera's four eyes narrowed, focusing intently on the human scientist. "Elaborate, Dr. Starlight. How could a direct course for our secret outpost be a misunderstanding?" Lyanna took a deep breath, her mind racing. "Think about it. Humans have no knowledge of your presence in our solar system. Is it not more likely they've detected some anomaly on Europa and are simply investigating out of scientific curiosity?" A low murmur rippled through the assembly as the aliens considered her words. Ambassador Krell's misty form condensed slightly, a sign of deep thought among his species. "An interesting theory," Krell admitted, "but it doesn't change the fact that they've left their designated zone. The quarantine exists for a reason, Dr. Starlight. Your people are unpredictable." Lyanna couldn't help but smile at that. Unpredictable, yes, but also adaptable, innovative, and above all, peaceful when given the chance. "I propose we make contact with the human ship, guide them to a neutral location, open a dialogue." The chamber erupted once more, delegates arguing furiously among themselves. Some supported Lyanna's proposal, while others called for immediate military intervention. Zixnera raised all four arms, calling for order. "Enough." The Supreme Counselor's voice boomed. "We will put it to a vote. But first, let us hear from our military advisor, General Krovac. What are our options if diplomacy fails?" A massive armored figure stepped forward. General Krovac was a Thoraxian, a species renowned throughout the galaxy for their strategic minds and martial prowess. His exoskeleton clicked ominously as he moved. "Our options are limited, but decisive," Krovac growled. "We have a stealth cruiser in the vicinity of your Sol system. One quantum torpedo would be sufficient to atomize the human vessel." Lyanna felt her heart skip a beat. "You can't be serious. That would be an act of war against my entire species." Krovac turned his compound eyes toward her, his mandibles twitching in what might have been amusement. "A war, Doctor? Against a species that can barely leave its own planet. It would be more akin to pest control." Before Lyanna could retort, a new voice cut through the tension. "Perhaps we're approaching this from the wrong angle." All eyes turned to the source, a shimmering, ethereal being that seemed to phase in and out of reality. It was Jixen, representative of the enigmatic quantum collective. "We've observed humanity for centuries," Jixen continued, its voice a melodic hum. "Their capacity for violence is matched only by their capacity for growth. Rather than fear their unpredictability, why not embrace it? The galaxy has grown stagnant. Perhaps humanity is the catalyst for change we've been waiting for." The chamber fell silent as the delegates pondered Jixen's words. Even General Krovac seemed taken aback by this perspective. Seizing the moment, Lyanna stepped forward. "Esteemed Council, I implore you, give humanity a chance. Let us make peaceful contact. If my people react with hostility, then you can take whatever action you deem necessary." The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. She had just offered herself as a hostage for humanity's good behavior. Supreme Counselor Zixnera studied Lyanna intently, all four eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of intense deliberation in their species. Finally, the counselor spoke. "Very well, Dr. Starlight. We will attempt contact. But know this, if your faith in humanity is misplaced, the consequences will be severe." As the council began to draft a first contact protocol, alarms blared once again. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a new development that left even the most seasoned delegates speechless. The human ship had begun to change. Panels shifted, revealing hidden components. Solar arrays unfolded to impossible lengths. What had appeared to be a crude vessel was transforming before their eyes into something far more advanced. "Impossible," General Krovac muttered. "Our intelligence suggested they were centuries away from this level of technology." Lyanna stared at the display, a mixture of awe and trepidation washing over her. "It seems," she said softly, "that humanity has a few surprises left." As the transformed ship approached Europa, its true nature became clear. This was no simple exploration vessel. It was a seed ship, carrying within it the technology and resources to establish a human presence in the outer solar system. The Galactic Council watched in stunned silence as the ship settled into orbit around Europa. Humanity hadn't just left their Deathworld. They were about to colonize a new one, right under the noses of the galaxy's most powerful beings. Zixnera turned to Lyanna, all four eyes wide with a mixture of shock and grudging respect. "It seems, Dr. Starlight, that we severely underestimated your species. The question now is, what else don't we know about humanity?" As the Council grappled with this paradigm-shifting revelation, Lyanna couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had taken its first true steps into the cosmic arena, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the transformed human vessel settled into orbit around Europa, the Galactic Council chamber buzzed with a mixture of fear, awe, and frantic speculation. Dr. Lyanna Starlight found herself at the center of a storm of questions, accusations, and demands for explanation. "Did you know about this, Dr. Starlight?" Supreme Counselor Zixnera's voice cut through the din, silencing the other delegates. "Did humanity deliberately deceive us about the extent of your technological capabilities?" Lyanna shook her head, her own shock evident on her face. I had no idea. This technology, it's beyond anything I've seen or even heard whispers of back on Earth." General Krovac stomped forward, his armored exoskeleton clanking ominously. "Convenient, isn't it? The human claims ignorance while her species makes a mockery of our intelligence networks." Before Lyanna could defend herself, the ethereal form of Jixun shimmered into solidity between her and the agitated Thoraxian general. "Peace, General." Even our quantum collective did not foresee this development. Perhaps instead of assigning blame, we should focus on understanding. The holographic display flickered, zooming in on the human ship. What had seemed like a crude patchwork of technology now revealed itself as an intricate tapestry of advanced systems. Panels that had appeared to be simple solar arrays were unfolding into complex energy collectors. The habitat module was expanding, terraforming pods detaching and descending towards Europa's icy surface. Ambassador Krell's misty form swirled agitatedly. "They're not just exploring. They're colonizing. This is a direct violation of all our protocols." Lyanna stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her diplomatic caution. "Look at those terraforming pods, the technology. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It's as if they're not just adapting to Europa's environment, but reshaping it at a molecular level." Zixnera's upper arms gestured towards the display, enhancing the image further. "Dr. Starlight is correct. Our sensors indicate the pods are already beginning to alter Europa's atmospheric composition. At this rate, they could have a breathable atmosphere within days, not years." A hush fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just surprised the Galactic Council with their ability to leave their planet. They had demonstrated technology that surpassed even some of the most advanced species in the galaxy. General Krovak's mandibles clicked furiously. This changes everything. A species with this level of technology, emerging from a Deathworld, they're not just a threat to our outpost. They're a threat to the entire galactic order. Lyanna felt a chill run down her spine. She knew she had to act fast to prevent this situation from spiraling into conflict. Esteemed Council, please, before we jump to conclusions, let's consider the facts. Humanity has had no official contact with alien life. As far as they know, they're alone in the universe. Their actions, however advanced, are not meant as a provocation. Jixun's form rippled in what might have been agreement. The human speaks wisdom. We must also consider another possibility, that this technology is not entirely of human origin. The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the quantum collective representative. Jixun continued, throughout galactic history, there have been legends of ancient, highly advanced civilizations that vanished eons ago. What if humanity, in its isolation on Earth, stumbled upon the remnants of such a civilization? The implications of this theory sent shockwaves through the assembly. If true, it would explain humanity's sudden technological leap. It would also mean that Earth, long dismissed as a primitive death world, might hold secrets of immense value to the entire galaxy. Supreme Counselor Zixnera's four eyes blinked rapidly, processing this new information. This complicates matters significantly. If humans have indeed discovered ancient technology, our entire approach must change. We cannot risk antagonizing them and potentially losing access to such knowledge. General Krovak growled in frustration. So we do nothing. Allow them to establish a foothold in our territory. Not nothing, Zixnera replied. We make contact. Official, peaceful contact. Dr. Starlight, you will be our emissary. You will travel to the human ship and open a dialogue. Find out what they know, what they've discovered, and most importantly, what their intentions are. Lyanna felt a mix of excitement and trepidation wash over her. This was a monumental responsibility, one that would shape the future of human-alien relations. I'm honored, Supreme Counselor, but how can I reach them? I have no ship. Jixun's form shimmered. The quantum collective will provide transport. Our phase shift technology will allow us to approach undetected, giving Dr. Starlight the element of surprise in her contact. As the Council rushed to prepare for this unprecedented diplomatic mission, the holographic display showed new activity around Europa. The human ship was deploying more terraforming pods, but also what appeared to be defensive systems. Whether these were a precaution against the harsh environment of space or a sign that the humans suspected they weren't alone was unclear. Lyanna took a deep breath, steeling herself for the task ahead. She was about to make history, to be the bridge between humanity and the wider galactic community. As she followed Jixun to prepare for their journey, she couldn't help but wonder, what would she find when she reached that ship? And how would her own people react to the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe? The fate of two civilizations now rested on her shoulders, and the clock was ticking. The Quantum Collective's phase shift vessel slipped through the void of space like a ghost, undetectable to even the most advanced sensors. Inside, Dr. Lyanna Starlight stood at the view screen, her heart racing as they approached the transformed human ship orbiting Europa. We are nearing the contact point. Jixun's melodic voice hummed. Are you prepared, Dr. Starlight? Lyanna nodded, trying to project confidence she didn't entirely feel. As ready as I'll ever be. Though I must admit, I never imagined my first contact with my own species would be as an alien emissary. The human vessel loomed larger in the view screen, its true complexity now apparent. What had seemed like crude adaptations from a distance revealed themselves as marvels of engineering up close. Lyanna's scientific mind raced, trying to comprehend the leap in technology she was witnessing. Fascinating, Jixun observed. its form shimmering with interest. Their energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. It appears your species has indeed made a remarkable discovery. Before Lyanna could respond, alarms blared throughout the phase shift vessel. The view screen flickered, showing a massive energy buildup within the human ship. "Impossible," Jixon exclaimed, its usual calm demeanor shaken. "They've detected us through our phase shift." A beam of coherent energy lanced out from the human vessel, enveloping the quantum collective ship in a shimmering field. Lyanna braced for impact, but instead of destruction, she felt a strange tingling sensation. The world around her seemed to blur and shift. When her vision cleared, Lyanna found herself standing in what appeared to be the bridge of the human vessel. Sleek consoles and holographic displays surrounded her, staffed by a diverse crew of humans who regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and caution. A tall, distinguished-looking man with silver hair and piercing blue eyes stepped forward. "Welcome aboard the Prometheus, Dr. Lyanna Starlight. I'm Captain Eric Donovan. We've been expecting you." Lyanna's mind reeled. You know who I am. How is this possible?" Donovan smiled, a twinkle in his eye. "Let's just say we've had some help in preparing for this moment, but perhaps introductions are in order for your companion." Lyanna turned, startled to see Jixon materialize beside her, its ethereal form drawing amazed looks from the human crew. "Greetings," Jixon hummed. "I am Jixon of the Quantum Collective, representative to the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking dialogue." Captain Donovan nodded respectfully. "We welcome you both. I understand you have questions. So do we. Perhaps we can enlighten each other." As Donovan led them on a tour of the Prometheus, Lyanna's scientific curiosity warred with her diplomatic mission. The technology she saw defied her understanding of human capabilities. Matter replicators, gravity manipulation, even what appeared to be rudimentary teleportation technology. It was as if her species had advanced centuries overnight. "Captain," Lyanna finally asked, unable to contain herself any longer, "how is all of this possible? The Galactic Council believed humanity was centuries away from this level of advancement." Donovan's expression turned serious. "Dr. Starlight, what I'm about to tell you will reshape your understanding of human history, and perhaps that of the galaxy itself." He led them to a secure chamber deep within the ship. Inside, suspended in a force field, was an object that made Lyanna's breath catch in her throat. It was a small, metallic cube, covered in intricate, glowing symbols that seemed to shift and change as she watched. 5 years ago, Donovan explained, this artifact was discovered in a hidden chamber beneath the Giza Plateau. We've come to call it the Rosetta Cube. It contained the scientific knowledge of an ancient civilization that once spanned the galaxy, including the very aliens who first visited Earth thousands of years ago. Jixon's form pulsed with excitement. "The precursors. We thought their legacy lost to time." Donovan nodded. "This cube didn't just give us technology, Dr. Starlight. It gave us history. We learned that humanity is not native to Earth. We are the descendants of the survivors of a galactic war that nearly wiped out all advanced life in the galaxy. Earth was a refuge, a place to start over." Lyanna felt her world tilting on its axis. Everything she thought she knew about human history, about their place in the universe, was being rewritten before her eyes. "But if that's true," she stammered, "then the Galactic Council's quarantine was misguided, if well-intentioned," Donovan finished. "They saw a violent species on a harsh world. They didn't realize they were looking at the orphaned children of an advanced civilization, struggling to reclaim their birthright." Jixon's form rippled thoughtfully. "This changes everything. The Council must be informed immediately." Donovan held up a hand. "Not so fast. We've suspected the existence of the Galactic Council for some time, but we've been cautious about making contact. Humanity is still coming to terms with its true heritage. We're not sure we're ready to rejoin galactic society just yet." Lyanna felt the weight of history on her shoulders. She was standing at a crossroads not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The decisions made here, on this ship orbiting a distant moon, would shape the future of countless civilizations. Captain Donovan, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. I believe it's time we had a long talk about the past and about the future we might build together. As the Prometheus continued its work of transforming Europa, the first seeds of a new era were being planted. Humanity was stepping back onto the galactic stage, carrying with them the legacy of an ancient past and the promise of an uncertain but exciting future. The galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council chamber was in an uproar. Dr. Lyanna Starlight stood before the assembled delegates, her holographic projection flickering slightly as she delivered her report. The news of humanity's true origins and their possession of precursor technology had sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Supreme Counselor Zixnera's four arms were raised, calling for order. Silence. We must approach this situation with calm and reason. As the clamor died down, General Krovac stepped forward, his exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's lights. Calm. Reason. A species we thought primitive now wields the power of the precursors. We should mobilize our fleets immediately. Ambassador Krell's misty form swirled agitatedly. And start a war with a race that can transform worlds in days. Have you lost your mind, General? Lyanna seized the moment to interject. Esteemed Council, please. Humanity has no desire for conflict. Captain Donovan and the crew of the Prometheus have expressed their willingness to open diplomatic channels. They seek cooperation, not confrontation. Jixen, who had returned with Lyanna, shimmered in agreement. The humans' caution in revealing themselves speaks to their wisdom. They understand the magnitude of their discovery and its potential impact on the galaxy. We would be foolish to meet their openness with hostility. The chamber fell into a tense silence as the delegates pondered this. Finally, Zixnera spoke. Dr. Starlight, you have been our bridge to humanity thus far. What do you recommend as our next step? Lyanna took a deep breath, feeling the weight of two civilizations on her shoulders. I propose a summit, a meeting between representatives of the Galactic Council and key figures from Earth. Neutral ground, perhaps on the very Europa that humanity is transforming. It would give us all a chance to lay our cards on the table and discuss our shared future. Murmurs of consideration rippled through the chamber. Even General Krovac seemed to be mulling over the idea. And what of the precursor technology? Ambassador Krell asked. Surely we cannot allow one species to monopolize such power. That will undoubtedly be a key point of negotiation, Lyanna replied. But remember, this technology is part of humanity's heritage. It's not just a scientific discovery for them, but a connection to their long-lost past. Zixnera's eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of deep thought. Very well. We shall put it to a vote. All in favor of Dr. Starlight's proposal for a diplomatic summit. The chamber lit up with a sea of raised appendages and glowing affirmation signals. The motion had passed overwhelmingly. It is decided, Zixnera declared. Dr. Starlight, you will return to the Prometheus and extend our invitation. We will prepare a delegation to represent the Galactic Council. As the council session adjourned, Lyanna felt a mix of relief and apprehension. The first hurdle had been cleared, but the real challenges lay ahead. Back on the Prometheus, Captain Donovan received the news of the proposed summit with measured optimism. It's a start, he said, studying the holographic plans for Europa's transformation. But we need to be prepared for tough negotiations. Not everyone will be happy to see humanity reclaim its place in the stars. Lyanna nodded, watching as another terraforming pod descended towards Europa's surface. Captain, there's something I don't understand. If humanity has had this technology for 5 years, why wait until now to leave Earth? Why the secrecy? Donovan's expression turned grave. Because, Doctor, we needed to be sure we could protect ourselves. The Rosetta Cube didn't just give us scientific knowledge. It contained historical records, including the reason for the precursor's downfall. He called up a new holographic display. showing scenes of unimaginable destruction. Entire planets cracking apart, stars going nova, vast fleets of ships locked in battle. The precursors were nearly wiped out by another race, one driven by a fanatical belief in their own superiority. We call them the Destroyers. The cube warned us that they might still be out there, hibernating in the dark spaces between galaxies, waiting to strike again. Lyanna felt a chill run down her spine. And you think they might return? Donovan nodded solemnly. It's a possibility we have to be prepared for. That's why we've been cautious. That's why we're out here, turning Europa into a forward base, not just for exploration, but for defense. As if to emphasize his point, a series of structures began to emerge from Europa's icy surface, sleek, metallic installations that Lyanna realized were planetary defense systems. We're not just reclaiming our heritage, Dr. Starlight. We're preparing to defend it, and potentially the entire galaxy, against a threat most races don't even know exists. Lyanna's mind reeled at the implications. The upcoming summit wasn't just about integrating humanity into the galactic community. It was about preparing for a threat that could annihilate all sentient life. As she helped Donovan and his team prepare for the diplomatic meetings ahead, Lyanna couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. Humanity had indeed left its Deathworld, but it seemed they might be stepping into an even greater crucible, one that would test not just their species, but every race in the galaxy. The transformation of Europa continued apace, a testament to human determination and precursor ingenuity. But as the icy moon slowly became a bustling outpost, Lyanna wondered if they were building humanity's new home, or the first line of defense in a war that could engulf the entire Milky Way. The stage was set for a summit that would change the course of galactic history. But looming over it all was the shadow of an ancient threat, waiting to be awakened. Humanity's return to the stars had only just begun, and already the stakes could not be higher. The newly terraformed surface of Europa shimmered under the light of distant Jupiter. Where there had once been nothing but ice and silence, a sprawling complex of sleek buildings and advanced technology now stood. At the center of this marvel of engineering was the Summit Hall, a grand structure designed to host the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. Dr. Lyanna Starlight stood at the entrance, marveling at how quickly humanity had transformed this alien moon. In just weeks, they had created a breathable atmosphere, established a stable ecosystem, and constructed facilities that rivaled anything she had seen in her travels with the Galactic Council. "Impressive, isn't it?" Captain Donovan said, appearing beside her. "Hard to believe this was all ice just a short while ago." Lyanna nodded, still in awe. "It's incredible, but I can't help wondering if this display of power might be seen as provocative by some members of the Council." Donovan's expression turned serious. "Perhaps. But given what we're potentially facing, we needed to show that humanity is ready to be a major player on the galactic stage. We can't afford to be seen as weak or primitive, not with the destroyers potentially lurking out there." As if on cue, a series of ships began descending from the sky. The delegation from the Galactic Council had arrived. Lyanna took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenging negotiations ahead. The summit hall quickly filled with an extraordinary array of alien life forms. Supreme Counselor Zixnera led the procession, followed by General Krovac, Ambassador Krell, and representatives from dozens of other species. The humans, led by a team of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel, took their places opposite the alien delegation. Zixnera's four eyes surveyed the room before speaking. "We are gathered here today to address a situation unprecedented in galactic history. Humanity, long believed to be a primitive species confined to a Deathworld, has revealed itself to be the inheritors of precursor legacy. We must now determine how to move forward in a way that ensures peace and stability for all." Captain Donovan stood, his voice clear and confident. "We appreciate the Council's willingness to meet with us. Humanity comes here not as conquerors or disruptors, but as long-lost cousins eager to rejoin the galactic family. We bring with us knowledge and technology that could benefit all species, but we also bring a warning of a threat that concerns us all. A murmur ran through the alien delegation at this. General Krovac leaned forward, his mandibles clicking. You speak of these destroyers mentioned in your historical records. How can we be certain they even still exist? It's been eons since the time of the precursors. Donovan nodded to a human scientist who activated a holographic display. It showed a series of long-range scans, focusing on the dark spaces between galaxies. These energy signatures, the scientist explained, are consistent with the hibernation technology described in the precursor records. They're faint, but they're there. The destroyers are out there, dormant but not gone. The room erupted into concerned chatter. Ambassador Krell's misty form swirled agitatedly. If this is true, it changes everything. We cannot afford to be divided in the face of such a threat. Zixnera raised her arms for silence. This is indeed grave news, but it also raises questions. Why should humanity be the ones to lead us against this threat? How can we be sure you won't use this precursor technology to dominate other species? Lyanna saw an opportunity and stepped forward. If I may, Supreme Counselor, I've spent time with both humanity and the Council. I believe there's a way forward that addresses everyone's concerns. All eyes in the room turned to her as she continued. What if we created a joint task force? A combination of human ingenuity and precursor technology, with the diverse skills and knowledge of Council races. Together, we could prepare our defenses, advance our shared scientific understanding, and forge the connections we'll need to face this threat united. The proposal sent a ripple of consideration through both delegations. Captain Donovan nodded approvingly, while Zixnera's eyes blinked rapidly in thought. General Krovac, however, remained skeptical. And who would lead this task force? Who would control the precursor technology? We would share it, Donovan replied firmly. Under strict protocols agreed upon by all parties. We're not interested in domination, General. We're interested in survival, for all of us. As the negotiations continued, delving into the specifics of technology sharing, defense strategies, and political integration, Lyanna found herself acting as a bridge between the two sides. Her unique position as both a human and a respected figure in the Galactic Council made her an ideal mediator. Hours turned into days as the summit progressed. There were heated arguments, moments of breakthrough, and periods of tense stalemate. But slowly, a framework for cooperation began to emerge. On the final day of the summit, as agreements were being finalized, alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. All eyes turned to the large view screen at the front of the summit hall. A massive ship, unlike anything seen before, had appeared at the edge of the solar system. Its design was alien, predatory, exuding an aura of ancient malevolence. Captain Donovan's face paled. It can't be. They're awakening already. Supreme Counselor Zixnera turned to the human delegation, all four eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. It seems, humans, that your warnings were more prescient than we realized. The destroyers are here. As the enormous ship began to move towards the inner solar system, Lyanna realized that the true test of humanity's return to the stars was about to begin. The summit had forged the beginnings of an alliance. Now, that fledgling union would face trial by fire. The Galactic Council and humanity, so recently at odds, now stood together as the vanguard against an ancient evil. As preparations for defense began in earnest, Lyanna couldn't help but think that this was the moment humanity had been unknowingly preparing for throughout its long exile on Earth. The destroyers had returned, but this time they would not find a galaxy of easy prey. This time they would face a united front, with humanity and its rediscovered precursor legacy leading the charge. The next chapter in galactic history was about to be written, and the stakes could not be higher. Chaos erupted in the summit hall as the reality of the destroyer's arrival sank in. Alien delegates clamored for evacuation while military leaders demanded immediate action. In the midst of the pandemonium, Captain Donovan's voice cut through the noise, calm and authoritative. "Everyone, please, we've prepared for this. It's time to put our plans into action." Supreme Counselor Zixnera turned to Donovan, all four eyes focused intently. "You have a strategy." Donovan nodded, activating a holographic display of the solar system. "The destroyers may have advanced technology, but they're operating on outdated intelligence. They expect to find a fractured, unprepared galaxy. Instead, they're about to face a united front with precursor-level defenses." Dr. Lyanna Starlight watched in awe as the plan unfolded. The terraforming technology that had transformed Europa was now revealing its true purpose. Hidden beneath the icy surface of the moon was a vast network of advanced weapon systems and energy shields. "Incredible," General Krovac muttered, his earlier skepticism replaced by grudging admiration. "You've turned this entire moon into a fortress." "Not just Europa," Donovan replied. "While we've been negotiating, human ships have been deploying similar systems throughout the solar system. We're not just defending Earth. We're making our stand here, at the edge of our territory." As if on cue, previously invisible defense platforms around Jupiter and its other moons flickered into view. A shimmering energy field began to envelope the entire Jovian system. Ambassador Krell's misty form pulsed with excitement. "You've recreated precursor defense technology. But how will we coordinate our forces?" Lyanna stepped forward, a determined glint in her eye. "That's where the Joint Task Force comes in. We've spent the last few days laying the groundwork for cooperation. Now it's time to put it into practice." What followed was a flurry of activity as human and alien leaders integrated their command structures. The diversity of the Galactic Council races, once seen as a potential source of conflict, now became their greatest strength. Each species brought unique abilities and perspectives to the battle plan. The destroyer ship, a behemoth of dark metal and pulsing energy weapons, entered the Jovian system. Its first salvo of energy beams dissipated harmlessly against the shield network. "They're scanning us," a human technician reported. "They seem confused." Donovan allowed himself a grim smile. "Good. Let's show them what we're really capable of." The counterattack was a symphony of coordinated strikes. Quantum-tipped missiles from Europa streaked across space, their trajectories calculated by the Quantum Collective's probability engines. Phyrexian battle cruisers, summoned by General Krovac, emerged from hyperspace to flank the destroyer vessel. Meanwhile, Ambassador Krell's gaseous species infiltrated the enemy ship through microscopic breaches, disrupting systems from within. Human pilots, their reflexes enhanced by precursor neural interfaces, darted between capital ships in advanced fighter craft, striking with surgical precision. The destroyer vessel, for all its terrifying power, found itself outmatched by the unified defense. Its energy shields flickered and failed under the relentless assault. But victory would not come easily. The destroyers, sensing defeat, initiated some sort of self-destruct sequence. The energy buildup threatened to tear a hole in spacetime itself, potentially devastating the entire solar system. "We can't let that happen," Lyanna shouted over the alarms. "If that ship explodes here, it could render this entire region uninhabitable." Zixnera's four arms worked furiously over a control panel. "We need to contain the explosion, but none of our ships are powerful enough to generate a field of that magnitude." Donovan's eyes lit up with a dangerous idea. Maybe not a ship, but what about a moon? Understanding dawned on Lyanna's face. Europa's shield network, if we reconfigure it to focus inward instead of outward, we could create a containment bubble around the destroyer ship, Donovan finished. But we'd have to drop our defenses to do it. General Krovac stomped forward. "You'd leave us exposed." "That's madness." "It's our only choice," Lyanna argued. "We have to trust in our combined strength." The next few minutes were a blur of frantic activity. As the destroyer ship's energy levels reached critical, Europa's entire defense grid was recalibrated. The shield protecting the Jovian system flickered and died. In that moment of vulnerability, smaller destroyer craft emerged from the larger ship, streaking towards the assembled fleet. But the Allied forces held firm, every ship and weapon focusing on protecting Europa as it executed its desperate gambit. With seconds to spare, a massive energy bubble erupted from Europa's surface, engulfing the destroyer mothership just as it detonated. The explosion was blinding, a miniature supernova contained within the bubble of precursor energy. When the light faded, the destroyer ship was gone. The smaller craft, now leaderless, were quickly mopped up by the Allied fleet. A cheer went up across every ship and station in the system. Against all odds, they had won. In the aftermath of the battle, as the adrenaline faded, the true magnitude of what had been accomplished began to sink in. Humanity had not only successfully defended itself against an ancient, implacable foe, but had done so as part of a united galactic community. Supreme Counselor Zixnera approached Captain Donovan and Dr. Starlight, her posture one of deep respect. "You have done the impossible. You've united the galaxy in a way we never thought possible, and in doing so, you may have saved us all." Donovan smiled tiredly. "We couldn't have done it alone. This victory belongs to all of us." Lyanna looked out at the assembled fleet, a mix of human and alien ships working together to secure the system. "So where do we go from here?" Zixnera's eyes blinked thoughtfully. "The threat of the destroyers remains. This was likely only a scouting force. We must prepare for a larger invasion." "Agreed," Donovan nodded. "But now we know it can be done. Together, we can face whatever comes next." As the leaders of humanity and the Galactic Council began to plan for the future, Lyanna couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and hope. Humanity had left its Deathworld, not as conquerors or refugees, but as equals. They had reclaimed their heritage and found their place among the stars. The Galactic Council, once horrified by humanity's emergence, now welcomed them as vital allies. The challenges ahead were immense, but for the first time in eons, the galaxy faced them united. As Europa continued its transformation, no longer just a fortress, but a symbol of interstellar cooperation, Lyanna realized that this was more than just the end of humanity's isolation. It was the dawn of a new era for all sentient life in the Milky Way. The Deathworld species had not just survived. They had given the entire galaxy a new lease on life. And whatever the future held, they would face it together, among the stars that had always been their true home.